I am at a loss for words for the feeling that rages in my soul. An unstoppable evil is in my body and it's taking full control. I could take you down the path of how I landed in this mess, and I could talk about my limp and how it led to ALS. There are 20,000 in the USA who could share their story too. We can talk about how it feels to watch your own self become not you. I can tell you my right leg collapses and drags me down like a lead weight. I cannot walk or balance on it, and hell yeah, if it helped, I would certainly amputate. ALS is like a serial killer, hard to stop and fearless of the law. It roams freely with no consequence, inflicting pain and death on all. The strongest athlete and the boldest leader will be left broken, empty, and hollow, sucked dry of our entire beings until we cannot walk, breathe, or swallow. I have ALS and I'm being eaten alive every single day. I cannot do a thing about the fact that fatal is its only way. And I ask you to imagine knowing that you're going to die. Imagine the terror you would feel as you look death right into its eyes. Losing your body bit by bit is how this evil feasts, but more painful is the thought that your future is over and your dreams, they all have ceased. America, the land of the free, where dreams come true, united we bravely stand. We have faith that we will be taken care of by those who hold the most power in their hand. At least that's what I thought my whole life, until my whole life was suddenly not mine. In July 2020, I heard of NurOwn, which gave me hope, and I prayed that I would be fine. But a week became a month, and now the months have turned into a year. We fight, we beg, we cry, we yell, we burst with frustration because our end is near. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe, the Statue of Liberty does read. Did we miss the fine print that says unless you have ALS, you must wait your turn to breathe? In our great country, we can't comprehend the FDA would not do good with their power. They know damn well that with ALS, our death is literally expedited every single hour. If our government wants to be so rigid, inflexible, seeing all things as black or white, they should be reminded that it is written, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is our right. Maybe you don't believe in documents or big statues from the past, and maybe you think they're antiquated with rules that should not last. And if that's the case, then I will fast forward to a topic that's part of modern chatter. By denying us a fighting chance to live, does that mean that our lives just don't matter? So on and on we grow fatigued and are forced to fight every damn day. But the thought has to cross each of our minds. Are we even thought of by the FDA? If they only knew the feeling of having each limb unplugged, dying slowly as we fade away, or to know what it's like to crawl on the floor because standing up, there's no way. Every normal action we take, like lacing up a shoe, is an effort, a struggle as we sweat and cramp no matter what we do. I drag my atrophied yet heavy leg in an attempt to fling it up on my bed, gripping my jammies to pull it up while the veins pulse inside my head. Those are only physical losses. They don't come close to the depth of the real pain from knowing that you cease to exist, only your memories will remain. I won't even touch this part of the loss that ALS has brought into my life. The most important part of my entire self is being a mom and a wife. If you cannot connect emotion with those thoughts, you might be a sociopath. And if you can connect with them, then I hope you can understand our wrath. The disease itself is a beast, destroying all that gets in its way. But that beast is shadowed by a massive kraken we face courtesy of the FDA. What could be worse than slowly losing your ability to walk, to breathe, or to talk? What could be worse than knowing you've already been beaten by the darkness of the clock? The truth does not seem plausible to most who hear the facts, and once you hear it, you will understand why I simply cannot relax. FDA has the power to help us with ALS live our lives with hope and even a real future, but instead they have chosen to sew red tape on our mouths with suffocating sutures. Nope, you cannot try MX35 or NurOwn because the p-value was simply not met. We really don't give a shit that somebody's standing up out of a wheelchair, walking or breathing without a vent. Yep, we see clear evidence of improvement for those 35 and above on the ALS scale, but we're going to ignore that subgroup and focus on the GUI'd up data that deem the trial a fail. And so once again, patients with a terminal neurological disease are forced to spend their last days fighting, just as I am right now sitting here at 5 a.m. when I should be sleeping, but I can't, so I'm writing. The time to change the course of ALS is now, no better time than the present. Do whatever you can possibly do, or I promise you, you will regret it. I know that some of you are feeling like you don't have the drive or the grit, but trust me, deep down you have it, and together we will handle shit. Last session, united, we saw Congress support our great cause to forge a new future by making ALS bills become laws. We couldn't stop time, and the congressional session did end with 279 co-sponsors. We were strong, but we knew we must do it all over again. The bill will fund expanded access to therapies and drugs on a short list, and now is not the time to be shy. Be pissed that we must fight to exist. Stop being afraid of what needs to be loudly spoken. If it helps you function and you can prove it, we'll approve it, was a promise that was broken. Because the truth is, something did work, so the choice should be clear. It had passed phase 1 safety, so there was nothing at all to fear. Then we are told that the science needs to be there to support the solution. To approve a drug quickly without proper science would be an unlawful intrusion. It's interesting that small pharma has come up with viable ALS therapies that do work. They don't sparkle and shine and make the stock market go berserk, but they did improve the lives of 34% in the trial. So how does 34% plus it worked add up to a denial? The sum of those two should have been a hell fucking yes. The science was there, so what's left up to guess? And I'm not a brain surgeon, but the last time I had a scalpel in my hand, it was easy to deduce that saving some lives is a pretty damn good plan. And so we with ALS are thrown into the arena to fight, to call on our Congress to help make this wrong right. We've asked for a congressional hearing with FDA to help understand what they're going to try to explain, how not helping the terminally ill could be anything but insane. It's time for accountability and for drugs that halt ALS progression, and we look forward to hearing it during the congressional hearing this session. Let's talk about the flexible regulatory path for our meds. Let's talk about how, yes, we want expanded access before we are chained to our beds. Are we willing to roll the dice on drugs in phase 3 or even phase 2? If you were in our place, what the hell would you do? Let me state the obvious and let me be super clear. Without expanded access to therapies now, our death is quite near. It's not a kinda or a maybe or perhaps it will come. It's not a, well, we all die in the end, right? Or any other stupid comment that makes us go numb. It's a 100% matter of fact you will die because you're on a train ride to hell. There's no cord or button to stop it and you can't even yell. But with drugs and treatments, experimental or proven, there's a possibility that they actually work and we might actually start moving. Moving legs that didn't work, taking steps or breathing air on our own, or even better, knowing the joy of seeing our kids live life until they're grown. The possibilities are endless, and that includes scientific advances, so explain to me how there's even a question on giving us chances. At worst, we drop dead from whatever therapy or drug that we take, but it's my body and it's my choice, so blame me. My bad, my mistake. Above all, the one thing that no one in a place of power should do is make promises to the terminally ill with no intent to follow through. The time has come for ALS to be prioritized, become treatable with drugs that are already there. What does it take to be heard and see advancements in our care? Perhaps if FDA had to spend one day in our lives, they might not have bolted shut the door. Be witness to the countless times that ALS has slammed me straight down on the floor. Or look at my mom with intense pain in her eyes, helpless, powerless, wishing she could be the one that suffers and dies. The bottom line is that it's disgusting that we are forced to live life like this each day, begging and pleading for help and compassion like a bone tossed out to a stray. FDA says science comes first or it would be unlawful at best. Then FDA contradicts their own statement by approving drugs for the rest. If it helps you function, we'll approve it, Woodcock said, and we all heard her. But perhaps unlawful in her eyes doesn't apply to allowing our mass murder.